The best late-night conservative talk show in America. SacK Radio.
Malden
There are
PD
no
one.
people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than SacK Sean and SacK Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, SacK Radio.
SacK News. SacK News.
Radio.
SacK News. SacK News.
Radio.
SacK. SacK. SacK.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
Best.
Into the bylaw.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
And good evening, and welcome to the SacK Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network. You may or may not be hearing us right now. It's kind of funny, really. I don't know what happened there. That couldn't have possibly have been my fault, because it doesn't work that way. So, I'm going to go with that it was, I'm going to go with BZ this time. I think that's the better option. I'm going to go with BZ.
It's my fault.
That was your fault.
Always
Clearly.
my fault.
Clearly. I'm hoping people in chat room can actually hear us. That was just bizarre that we're not getting any sound back. So, yeah. Anywho.
Mary Brockman said, okay, do I refresh? And I said, yes, be refreshing.
Yes, be as refreshing as you could possibly be right now.
Is she hearing us?
That's what I asked. And apparently no video.
Oh.
But is she hearing us?
No, there should be video.
Well, Mike says no video.
On
But are they
SHR?
hearing us?
Well, I'm waiting to see. Folks, can you hear us?
I know they can see us. I'm looking at
Oh,
it
wait.
right now.
Wait, Big Mouth Patriot says, yes, sir. He can hear.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
And the intro
Well, then what
was
are we
there.
waiting for?
And the intro was there, right? The intro was
Now
there as
Big
well.
Mouth Patriot says, I have video.
Okay, so we have video and audio.
No, Big Mouth Patriot has video.
Maybe it's only going to him.
He just says he has video. He can't speak for everybody else, Sean.
You're right. I can't speak for everybody else. I don't know what I was thinking. God help us all.
Mary says she has audio.
Okay, good.
Good. Well, that's two.
Well, you know what? I'm glad everyone else does. We can deal with the lack of audio in here because we know we have time cues. And, we never use them anyhow. So we might as well just keep this time cue as it is. Welcome to the SacK Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, the 7th of June, 2017. Appreciate you guys all being here.
I can tell you what it is.
What is it?
I can tell you the whole thing about what it is.
What?
It's because the studio's not used to him being back.
Thank you, BZ. I agree.
And now it has to adjust.
And I got to make some adjustments, too. I got to adjust my camera.
I got to
here.
adjust something, too, but don't let the camera pan on me while I do this.
What?
Okay. What?
Sir, it's been 6 weeks since anyone's known that you're alive. So, you know what? Take it away, buddy.
Okay, so...
So there I was.
No shit, there I was. And, look, so I did tweet out a photograph at one point.
Right.
To be fair.
Right.
And I think all two of my followers commented on it.
Yeah.
I don't Twitter very often. I don't Twitter very well.
Yeah, no kidding. You never replied to anything I sent, so
Ever.
I get it.
Yeah,
Ever.
I
No,
don't
you know
reply
what?
to anything.
BZ, it's ridiculous.
So
Why waste your time?
yeah, I don't. This is my point, folks.
Yeah.
I don't.
He doesn't waste any time whatsoever.
None.
That's
I don't have the time to waste.
the biggest problem.
So I'm on a ship in the middle of like some big place with lots of glaciers, and I feel
Iowa?
this presence.
Yeah.
No, Constantinople.
Okay, thank you.
And I feel this presence, and as I look over at the next ship as we're pulling into port, I see hanging off the front of the ship, there is one of those life rafts, and they come in those tubes where you pull the thing and the life rafts inflate,
Yeah.
and it's literally just hanging off of the front of this ship. And I knew.
Wait, you're talking about something that you tweeted like a month ago.
Yes, because
okay,
you
good.
said you haven't been here in 6 weeks. Take it away. So I'm backtracking here. I'm backtracking.
Okay.
He's backtracking
I'm
here.
backtracking
Whatever
here.
works.
I'm walking here.
Whatever works.
So I'm looking. I'm like, I bet the friggin' sackheads are here. Right? Like that is a total Sacko move.
Because how else? Right.
Because how else would that get deployed on a ship like just hanging there? It's literally just hanging off the front of the damn ship. So I figured they got the wrong ship, and I figured you guys had to try to deploy the raft to like row your asses over to the correct ship when you realized that you were on the wrong one, right?
Right.
And then so I hid, right? I jumped back into the cabin from the balcony.
Good choice.
Yeah, no, totally, because I didn't want you guys to see me. Now, fast forward another night or two. No shit, there I was in the casino, rolling bones.
Roll them bones.
Rolling bones. And the marker was on the 6.
I love. Great number.
Thank you.
Great
And
number.
a 6 hit. And as soon as the 6 hit, because BW rolled it,
Oh, of course. Oh.
as soon as the 6 hit, that's a big fucking spider behind your head.
Oh, that is. Holy crap.
Where?
That's the biggest spider I've ever seen.
You know,
That?
Yes.
That's not a spider, numbnuts.
Hang on, I'm going to shoot it. Oh, it's not a spider. So, a 6...
Are you even kidding me right now?
bang!
A 6 just hit.
That wouldn't have been kidding.
No.
And literally... Come on, I total make that
I know
shot.
you'd make the shot. That's not the
Thank
point.
you. So, literally...
Because your eyesight's obviously fucking awesome. Go ahead.
I just need to see the front sight, not what I'm hitting.
Go ahead.
Literally, all of the power in the ship goes black. Ship goes pitch black, and like not a sound. And the pit boss comes running out. Emergency lighting clicks on. Still no sound. The pit boss comes out. Cover the chips.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like there's a bunch of thieves on an Alaskan cruise, right?
Right, all them elderly thieves.
Yeah, everybody on
I
their
don't-
rascals.
And you're going to be able to run away once you get them.
Or exactly, where are you going?
But, I don't know casino procedure, but it sounds like that might be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Not that you're going very far on a ship, right?
Right,
What am I
but
going to do?
still,
Grab
no,
chips and
I-
jump overboard? Come on.
Yeah, but
We had
I mean, they're not going to catch
75
me. There's no power.
We had 75 elderly ladies jump over the fantail right after the bags of chips.
Seriously.
hips popping everywhere.
The hallway looked like a speedway for all their freaking carts. It was ridiculous. I started taking bets on carts.
Yeah,
I
why
was like,
would-
blue one to win.
Why would you not, right?
So we're sitting, and I'm like, okay, hang on a second. So we're inner passage, which means there's land on both sides,
Right.
And we have no fucking way to steer this thing.
You're fine.
Like this is great, right? I was a few bourbons in.
Why would you not be?
You're going to take your video right to the bow of the ship.
Yeah.
I want to see the cool shit up front.
I started laughing, and the best part is the piano bar, which was right next door. They don't miss a beat. They immediately start playing the theme song to Titanic.
Dude, that's so
Nice.
great.
Yes. Now here's
So-
the funny part.
Nice.
After seeing the deployed
I
rifle,
don't know who the director was
Yeah,
there.
that
Oh,
guy
they were
deserves
awesome.
a
That
raise.
guy, seriously,
They were
big
awesome.
money.
So after seeing the life raft and knowing the sackheads were onto me, I immediately knew that you guys were attempting to power up a show, tapping into ship's power, and that the awesomeness of SHR drained all of the power
Naturally.
for about 15 minutes
Naturally.
or so, while you guys were going to ambush me. And then I figured you guys had to bag off on the ambush because you didn't have power to live stream it at that point.
Hoover Dam went brown just for a bit.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
always.
So then I got pneumonia really bad for a couple weeks, and I was out for a couple weeks after that.
Yeah.
And then you know what happened the other.
Yeah. No, it just got crazy.
Yeah.
Life does that, though. Doesn't life just get a little crazy at
Yeah,
times?
just a little bit. Just a little bit. So I'm back. I missed you guys.
Hey, we missed
I missed you guys
That's
so
right.
much. I literally
Like the heaven. We missed you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No,
We had somebody sit in for you last week.
No, I know. I saw that.
They
Thank
were
you.
just as effective, amazingly enough.
Were they really?
Yes. Really
Yeah.
got his point across.
So there was really good interplay.
Oh, a lot
Did you
of good
notice?
interplay.
And we
Yeah.
got a lot of positive
Perfect.
comments in chat too.
Yeah, and
Well,
you know what?
certainly a lot better looking. I mean, I have this camera
No
shoved in
doubt.
my face right now.
No doubt.
So I apologize
let's get a
for
look
all
at
of you
that.
that you
Wait,
get to look
there
at
it
this.
is. Yeah.
I have a face for radio. I
Here's
get
the
it.
best part is it's a wide angle and
So I can
still
my nose doesn't fit.
Well, the shadow your nose gives when you turn your head left or right, covers like half your face and the wall behind you.
Which
It's
is
really
awesome.
bizarre. I have to get you your own lighting setup. Here, hold on.
Hang on.
There we go.
Hang on.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Hang on.
Perfect.
So you're trying to say
No,
that
I just-
lions
I
in
had an idea.
Africa,
No, leave it on.
lions in Africa in an airport either bask in the shade of the wings of a plane or Clint.
Hey, listen here, rookie.
Is that what you're saying?
I think that's almost exactly what I
Okay,
was saying,
all right.
wasn't
I
it?
just
Yeah, no,
wanted-
that was pretty much exactly
Okay, good.
what you were saying.
Just wanted to check.
Hey, listen, smartasses. So when the power went down on the ship, the captain dragged me, told me he's hoisting the sail, and for me to turn my head like a rudder.
He's like, we need full left nostril.
I was like, hang on, do I get like a paycheck? Do I get some kind of rank or something on this?
Now that's funny. All right, that's funny.
He's like, yeah, we'll call you the mast. Have fun, kid.
All right, assholes. So we're 3 minutes past
How many
my
lanyards
segment
did
here.
they try to hook up to him?
We didn't even say hi to BZ yet. BZ, sir, how you doing?
Fuck
Yeah.
you, Z. He's talking shit. So,
It's
I'm
gonna be a
just kidding.
Sackheads night.
It
That's
is. I
gonna
can
be
tell
awesome.
already.
It's gonna be one of
Yeah,
those
because it
nights.
started out so well.
I really hope that people like
Like my show last night, trying to get Dave Milner in on a phone call.
Yeah.
I still got to figure out this. There's something about pushing the right or the wrong buttons, and I actually had to take a break. I pushed a button, then I could get the phone call, but what I pushed and how I enabled that, I have no fucking idea.
well, you know, at your age, even if you paid full attention, it would have been out of your head in about 15
That's right.
seconds.
Full attention to me is what, like 51% normally for regular people?
However, you could recall in 1972 what pants you wore on Christmas Day without a problem.
Bell bottoms.
yeah, no, they were red with like white piping on the bottom, along with the jacket that matched.
Yeah, but I didn't always look like
What?
this wonderful.
And you do look wonderful, sir.
You look wonderful tonight.
Oh, geez. Great song, though. Well, it was. I tried. Clint,
Yes.
you've been gone for a long time. I know
I
you've
have.
been waiting for your segment, and
I have. Look, was a great American week. Great. Look, everybody focuses on D-Day,
right,
absolutely. So, look, one of the greatest days in our
From the
our
greatest
history for
generations.
sure, and in France's history, definitely. You're welcome again. Not like me personally, but as a country, you're welcome. But something was overlooked, and I was a little upset by this.
Okay.
The 75th anniversary of Midway.
Oh, the Battle of Midway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was really overlooked. I think like June 4th is when it began. 75th anniversary this year, and I know there's always a lot of stuff on D-Day, and as there should be.
Right.
But I just felt that as a country we missed the mark on the 75th anniversary of Midway. I mean, of Midway.
Couldn't disagree.
This was you disagree with me?
No, I said I couldn't disagree.
Okay. It was the pivotal battle in the Pacific, one that really hurt the Japanese and their ability to wage war in the Pacific. We took down 4 of their aircraft carriers. We lost one of ours, the Yorktown. And
Brief interplay.
Yeah.
If I could. I hate to interrupt you, but in a way, no, I don't. My dad and his 2 brothers were all in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was in the U.S. Army Air Corps. He flew B-17s.
Mm-hmm.
My brother Jim was in the U.S. Army. My Uncle Jim was in the U.S. Army. And Uncle Bill was in the Navy. Uncle Bill went down on the Yorktown
Oh, wow.
and survived.
Oh my goodness.
So I've got a family history also. If I don't know if my camera is up, but I'm going to show this picture as best I can. So that is my grandfather's brother
Right there.
on the far, well, my right. You're right.
That's way cool.
Smoking the cigar, of course. He was a bombardier on that B-17 right there, Old Gappy, which has the distinction of having more combat missions flown, 157, than any other aircraft in World War II. He flew 38 missions, I believe. Over Germany and so forth, and really cool story there. But to get back to Midway, I was at home, and I was looking for old World War II movies, and so I actually had to go into my own personal collection because the movie Midway wasn't even shown anywhere on the networks that I was able to find during the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Midway.
Really?
Yeah, not only that, but this is a historical week. I mean, you have Midway anniversary, and this is every year, right? You have the Midway anniversary and the D-Day anniversary. And I wasn't able to find very many, like I would think that during those few days, you would be having like a World War II movie fest, right? 12 o'clock high, the longest day, especially particularly the longest day in Midway, right?
Right.
So I ended up watching myself The Flying Leathernecks, Tora, all those old great movies. So I just wanted to say, the Greatest Generation. Not many left anymore. My grandfather was there. His brother, my great uncle, who you saw the picture of, was there. My grandfather was a Pearl Harbor survivor. But thank you all. I want to thank the men and women in uniform, both past and present, and particularly to the Greatest Generation and the evil you fought in the world in responding to the Axis and just the horrors that you guys have seen. Thank you. God bless you. And I think the media and as a country, I think we really missed the mark this year, particularly as it relates to Midway.
Tremendously missed the mark, actually.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but what'd you say this year? 74 or 75?
75th.
75. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's the 74th because I mean, big deal, right? But
75 is a big deal.
This is the 75th anniversary.
I agree. And
I do have one other piece of news.
Oh,
I have one other piece of news.
okay.
SHR was fortunate enough to have sponsored
Oh yeah.
a championship team.
Well, do we have the shirt?
We don't have the shirt yet. It'll be this weekend, but I do have a picture. That's SHR. You see the logo right there.
Yep. In the background.
Yep, on the sleeve, and there's the SHR. I mean, you can see it right there on that sleeve, the SHR logo. We sponsored the Little League champion and the Tournament of Champions.
Son of a bitch.
So 2 champions, the Ponyball
cup.
Cubs.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Good job to them.
So congratulations to the SHR,
Absolutely.
the Ponyball Clubs, tournament champions and league champions.
That's pretty impressive.
We will
good for them, man.
Yeah, we will be having our plaque from the team
Yeah.
displayed here in studio,
You put it up behind you.
as well as I
That's
think
because we pick winners
we do
at the end of the
and
day.
I think both of those jerseys,
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think both of those jerseys with the SHR folded back, we should get those framed and put up in the studio
at
as
least
as
2.
well.
At least 2. We have spots everywhere for them.
Yep.
That'd be awesome. Well, congratulations to the little guys and gals, maybe.
And congratulations to SHR because, like you said, we pick winners.
Of course, we pick
so
winners.
really, without our sponsorship, they would have been a bunch of losers. Probably. So
Where would they have been?
yeah, nowhere, obviously.
Got a sec?
BZEP, yeah. Let's pull you up, throw you on the board. Go ahead, BZ. What you got?
My dad,
No
Oh,
kidding.
There you go.
Trying
World
to,
War II,
trying to get it to sharpen. There it is.
Boom.
his plane.
No kidding.
What was the name of his plane? Do you know?
That one I don't know. One of them was, is this trip really necessary?
That is awesome. That is awesome.
This is him when he's a flight instructor in a B-25.
Wow.
Because he finished his 35 missions, came back from B-17s, and they made him a flight instructor in B-25s.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
That's stupid.
You have all this combat experience in 17s. Hey, why don't you show these kids how to fly this bad boy right here?
Man, you guys were nailing it, and we're just going to have you not do much with it.
That's him in primary flight school in Stockton,
No
California,
Wow.
when he's just learning to be a pilot.
Jeez Louise. See, all my pictures are on the East Coast of my grandfather's in World War II.
And this is another one of him, again, in Pry-Fly.
Jeez Louise, man.
Wow.
That's freaking awesome. You know
Wow.
what's funny, Clint, is for you and I, it was grandfather's generation.
Yeah.
What? Why are you laughing already?
Nothing.
No,
I thought of something funny.
Okay, good.
Just the old bastard to my left.
I wasn't going to bring it up. I'm glad you did.
Yeah. I got one more thing real quick to
You don't
show.
have much time.
That right there is proof that the sackheads were following me.
That was on your Twitter at
That
SacK
was
Clint.
right.
Holy crap, that's it?
That's
Yeah.
it. That's
Can you make that bigger, Sean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Oh, now you're talking.
Yeah.
There you
That's-
go.
That's how you know the sackheads were
That's
aboard.
some scary
Yep.
shit. You
That is how
gotta
I knew.
admit that's pretty frightening.
I thought it was fucking
Well,
hilarious.
and that's one of those things like early in the morning you walk out on deck with your cup of coffee and have a sip and look down and the friggin' thing's just dangling. You're like,
what the hell?
honey, grab your shit.
Wait, what are we talking about?
We're talking about the lifeboat.
Oh, okay.
that was
I
hanging,
thought-
the lifeboat. Oh.
BZ.
For our first segment, we only have 8 minutes for it, but BZ,
That's right. It was slated for 10. We're
my
good.
favorite asshole name of all time, reality winner. Take it away.
You're such an asshole, Sean.
What?
I bet Sean $1 that he wouldn't get in on the segment.
You know, he is going to have to pay up.
He's going to have to.
Oh,
Right?
I have to, absolutely. But what's funny is I was like, nope, that's BZ's segment. You can't get in there. And you were like, watch me.
Watch me.
I was like, I bet you $1.
I control the board.
Yeah, and you were like,
BZ.
my favorite a-hole name of all time. God damn it.
And I couldn't
Mine
get-
is Sean.
I couldn't even intro it. I had to actually throw my own comments
Yep.
in. BZ, sorry about that. I needed $1. Go ahead.
The biggest thing about all of this is when you've got someone, I mean, you knew who this person was. All you'd have to do to find out the inclination of this individual is go to any of a social media. And
Yes.
these days, when you background people, one of the first things that a background investigator will do will say, give me your passwords to every bit of social media that you have. And if you don't, not only will you, especially if you signed an agreement indicating that the background can be conducted this way, and if you refuse, there can be some serious ramifications for that. So these people knew what they were getting
Yes. Well,
the moment they hired her.
Yes.
Coupled with this, her social media, her background, it's clear as day. It's out in the open for everyone to see.
But the media could not figure out her motivation. She was a sweet girl and not political at all.
hey, listen. She was just doing it for the better of the country. This
No,
was-
she wasn't really even that political.
No, that's what I
She's
mean,
a
though.
sweet girl.
But what she saw obviously shocked her conscience and her position and decided that it needed to go somewhere publicly.
At 24 years old, there's only one position she should have.
Go ahead and finish that out, Clint.
A
Yeah, yeah.
Starbucks barista.
Oh, well, okay. Well, that
Right?
was
That's
College and
funny.
stuff like
That's
that?
not exactly
I don't
where
understand.
I thought he was
You're a perverted old man.
gonna go.
That's dirty. That's just wrong and dirty.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I've got
PZ.
kids that age.
All right. So she's a military industrial contractor. She's
Yes.
25 years old,
Case in point.
and you've got
Go ahead, BZ.
Go ahead, BZ.
He can't help it. He can't help it. He's been gone for 6 weeks. Did you honestly think he was going to come in and shut up? No.
no. Okay. All right. I get it.
Yeah, dealing with the juvenile. Go ahead.
And so people of this generation, of this ilk, think that they can set government policy by doing what they feel is right. So this is predicated on nothing but emotions.
Yes.
But for fuck's sake,
See?
someone needs to be backgrounded to figure out how this person, who is obviously way left, a leftist,
Huge.
how did she get a top secret clearance? When I got mine, they went up through the standard colonoscopy route to find each and every people that I'd been. It's just
No, that was
and
Lex
there was no social media, of course, back then
None.
for anybody to jump on the internet and see what it is that I really aligned myself with.
Right.
You could do that today.
Well, and my biggest problem.
So how did you get a 25-year-old a top secret clearance?
You're making my case for me.
Looking
BZ.
at and knowing her background and not see this coming.
I agree wholeheartedly. The other issue that I have in this is this current belief. Listen, right, wrong, or indifferent, whatever you feel is a major issue that needs to be brought to the public's attention or Congress's attention, there are channels to do that. There are whistleblower channels. You go to a congressman.
Yes.
There's all these different ways that they are instructed on how. I have a friend who worked for one of these companies, and we've discussed this. Not anything that he works on, but the protocol. He said that there's a million different avenues you have to go to do it appropriately, and so that no information is put out there accidentally. Right? Classified information can still be protected,
Yes.
etc. To say that you're releasing this information for the better of the country and it's classified information, but you had no other choice, is bullshit.
Well, here's something else. I'm wondering if she was hired under the era of the Obama administration.
And I guarantee you, look
right?
at her age.
But which means
She
somebody
did 5 years in the Air Force first, so that means she would have been
23,
18 to 23.
right?
So 2 years after that, it still would have been the Obama administration.
So somebody probably did, and that administration liked radicals. There is no way that in the 5 months or 6 months or whatever that President Trump has been in office that they could background every single contractor that supposedly has already been backgrounded. So she is a microcosm of what is probably out there throughout the federal government.
No doubt.
Why isn't that being reported on? Because she probably did go through that background phase. But again, you look at what they were hiring in the Obama administration in terms of they were a bunch of ideologues, a bunch of
bingo. It's
communists.
It's all
progressive
ideological.
Ideologues.
All of it.
Well, and they knew what they were getting. It wasn't like this was a shock.
Well, it is to this administration coming in.
That's a good point.
Right? Not to the Obama administration when she was hired and probably hired and backgrounded, right. I'm guessing. But to this administration, of course.
She is endemic, a perfect example of all the deep state landmines that were left behind.
Yes.
And nurtured, cultured in the Obama administration because that's what that administration condoned, and tacitly and overtly sometimes accepted.
And allowed into government positions. What that administration, look, in my opinion, here's what happened under that administration. We no longer hired people into these types of jobs it is no longer America over politics.
Right.
It is 100%
ideology,
politics and ideology over America.
Ask yourself this fundamental question. How many of these maggots that we're finding are right-leaning individuals? I'll wait for the answer.
Let's see. Clint, what's your guess?
Zero.
I'm going to go with Goose Egg.
I'm going to go with zero.
BZ.
You can't go with... I went with zero.
We can both go with
Go with -1. Like they have one maybe that they thought might have been a conservative but was actual and ultra-lib.
Can we go to a break? As soon as you go down that road, it hurts.
In 15 seconds.
15 seconds. BZ, prosecution... You think anything?
She's already pled.
She's charged.
She's charged.
They're going to get the conviction.
Here's the one interesting aspect that I love about it. 1 hour after that came out in The Intercept, she's in handcuffs.
Yes. No, weird, right? And did Hillary? You know what? That's a different conversation to have altogether, folks. We're up against the break. When we come back, it looks like it's going to be my segment.
It's you.
We're going to be discussing the horrific terror attack in London, all that and more right here on the SacK Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the SacK Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the SacKheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
SacK Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Where the hell is he?
I think he went to the electric winkle chamber.
He's 6 weeks. He couldn't even do a whole segment back on time.
I know, it's sad. He does not have what one would customarily in law enforcement call a dispatcher's bladder. Where frequently you have to sit for, like 4 hours at a time before you get a tinkle break.
At least. At least. So, terror attack in London this week, just horrific. Just, less than 2 weeks after the...
That's essentially all I talked about last night. I had Dave Milner and we went through the entire thing. Europe doesn't get it. The UK doesn't get it. France doesn't get it. Merkel doesn't get it. Macron doesn't get it. They don't get it yet. The bottom line is an insufficient number of people have been sacrificed yet on the altar of political correctness.
Well, and just to review the actual incident this week, 3 radicalized jihadis jumped in a transit van, drove across the London Bridge, and ran over an excessive amount of people. Then they got out and began stabbing people. They went on foot into a shopping area or a nightlife area and began attacking more people. They were confronted initially by a single policeman with a baton who was able to, and some patrons in a couple bars, were throwing rocks and bottles and chairs at them, trying to keep them at bay. They're all carrying hunting knives.
They had an armed citizenry.
Yeah, well, and the armed response arrived and amazingly dispatched the 3 with relative quickness and ease. First and foremost,
point out of that, if I could.
Yes.
Note.
So mine will be second and second
Note
most.
to Londoners. You're not going to get it until you actually arm your police.
So this was
think that you have to wait for an armed response.
This was exactly where I was going with this. Before we get into that, I want to commend the fine job law enforcement did here. Both the officer who did with what he had.
Under the clear constraints.
Right. And then the response team for immediately engaging and dispatching these idiots.
Well, and for the citizens that had to fight these guys.
Yes.
There's a footballer
yes.
who went after these guys.
Yeah, I forget his name.
The guy's a clear hero.
Yes, absolutely. Fully engaged him.
And he engaged people carrying foot-long knives.
Hunting knives, absolutely. It was a horrific attack. On the same day, there was a hostage situation with an Islamist jihadi down in Australia, which a police officer was shot. I believe a citizen was killed.
Yes, and that got forgotten.
That went way under the radar. And, of course, the hammer attack yesterday in Paris, France. This, of course, all coming during Ramadan, when ISIS was calling for more attacks.
Yep.
And ISIS claimed responsibility for that one.
Yes.
So you know what we're not hearing? We're not hearing the gun debate right now.
We are not hearing the gun debate.
Because these attacks are being carried out with other weapons.
Yeah, so you had the hammer attack on law enforcement.
Yep.
The attacker yelled, "This is for Syria." You also had the vehicle and knife attack in London. I'm waiting, and I don't know if it was a revolutionary thing or an ISIS thing. I'm waiting to hear what happened in Iran, where the parliament building was attacked earlier this morning. And it's
by ISIS.
That's what the early indicators are, is that it was by ISIS. And now that would change a lot of oddness in Syria, wouldn't it? It really would. But I do want to go back to the arming of the police in London and this conversation that needs to happen. And I saw a poll today. I think it's 75% of people in London are now supporting, which that number has gone up sufficiently over the last 5 years. Fully arming every peace officer on the street. Listen, at some point when you have open borders, you have this influx of people, you have all of this going on, you have to start making a decision. And you can't put it on financial when lives are on the line. You can't say, oh, we just don't have the money for that. It can't be a financial decision. It has to be a strategic position. And that is, they are the first response. And even though they do have the armed response cars on the street, they're relatively more and more. And I can remember just after 9/11, after the first anniversary, I was in New York, and a whole group of cops from London came over to pay their tribute and respects on 9/11. I remember talking to them, and they said even after 9/11 happened, they started upping how many officers were on the street and armed. And now this is a long time ago. But they still are to the point where they haven't fully armed every officer. The amount of physical training that cops in Britain go through, because they go through all this hand-to-hand combat training and baton training and whatnot. They have every third car has a dog. It seems. It just seems like a rational step. Yeah. Oh, they use canines like crazy in England. They use them all the time for everything.
Yeah, that's cool, but sometimes you need a freaking gun.
Right, and that's what I'm getting at. Like, you have all of these other things, and they all fit nicely into a big puzzle, right? But the biggest threat...
One major piece is missing, though.
Exactly.
Spider-Man's face.
Spider-Man's face and lethal force.
Yep.
Regularly available lethal force. I've already heard arguments, well, there's like 3 armed cars in every area, and blah, blah, blah. No. One of the people that were stabbed on the bridge was a police officer. The guy, the officer who engaged the 3 of them was stabbed 3 or 4 times. If he had a weapon, even if he dispatched one of them before maybe they got to him, it drops the number down to 2, and then every injury that came after that could have been lessened. Yeah. If the officer was able to dispatch all 3.
How ridiculous is it that we even have to make this argument?
Well, because you hear this a lot with Europeans about, especially over here, and I hear this a lot from people with London where they said, I think it's weird that everybody over here has a gun. And that was sometime, a couple of years ago where you'd have that conversation. Now you talk to some people from over there and online and some other places. It's not so weird anymore to think about it.
When they say that, I was like, yeah, there's a reason we beat you in a couple of wars.
There's a reason we had to send you guns twice.
Still, one of the primary and predicating factors for that is we are unsophisticated. We are the little bastards of the UK, so is Australia for that matter. And now they're beginning to realize that, yes, we had our very own little manifest destiny, east to west. We were a rural, agrarian society. And for all the various things that occurred, yes, you generally were well armed. Yeah. But that's our history.
But this right started in Great Britain.
Yes. It wasn't like we came up with it all by ourselves.
Yeah, we didn't come up with this idea.
No, it's like, hello, Magna Carta. Thank you very much.
Yes. And it's like, it was your freaking idea. We just thought it was a good one, and it worked for you for centuries.
We just reinvented
and
the
it's
wheel.
worked for us, yeah. You jackasses got all progressive on it, and now look at you.
Right. And like I said,
mean,
it's bit them in the ass twice.
It has, but I want to tie this back in, if I may, to our country.
Mm-hmm.
And you said something interesting, Sean. You talked about open borders. We already know that our law enforcement here is armed. Most of them are armed properly. They have defensive armored vehicles that they can use as rescue vehicles and to hide people behind. They have ARs and long guns, M4s and whatnot that they can engage threats that exceed the capability of a tertiary weapon system like a handgun or something.
On the other hand, before we got that, though, we had to go through Matasarenu and Phillips before we realized that we needed to be armed in that fashion.
Well, yeah, you had to go through the West Hollywood shootout,
Right. Yep.
Right before rifles were in
Every car.
Every car. Well, at least in certain agencies, right? Some agencies are like, oh, that's scary.
We don't need that.
But you're right. But I'm saying we're at that point.
Yes.
But open borders is interesting because now we've had the Ninth Circuit and the Fourth Circuit both shut down President Trump's travel.
Right.
And they based it on campaign rhetoric. First of all, campaign rhetoric, you have to look at the evidence that's presented. And campaign rhetoric, rhetoric that's made as part of a campaign to win office, while it's important, and we brought Obama's rhetoric up several times, such as fundamentally transform America and so forth, for sure. But you have to look at the evidence. And I had this argument with some ambulance-chasing hack the other day. You met him, by the way, and you like him.
He's
correct?
He's a good guy.
Yes, this is what I told you.
Nutty is a shithouse rat.
But yeah, awesome dude. And anyways, he was saying, well, yeah, that rhetoric comes into play, and you have to look at he wants the Muslim ban and blah, blah, blah. And my argument back to him, and my argument to liberals in this case, is no, we're talking six countries that are known to sponsor terrorism, where these extremists come from. He didn't ban all Muslims or Saudi Arabia or whatever. And he says, well, it's in effect. No, it's not in effect.
It's not in effect.
Because it's six freaking countries. How many Muslim countries are there in the world?
And we're not the only countries who are blocking these countries.
Exactly, but he's talking about the U.S. and our Constitution.
Right.
And so I ended up getting in this debate with him, and he said, what do you base that off as? Original intent. How can you possibly bring original intent into this? Easy, jackass. I mean ambulance-chasing hack. Because we've been fighting terrorism with the Tripoli pirates and the extremists literally since the foundation of our country. And read Federalist number 2, where John Jay talks about the importance of a strong national identity, a cohesive people, and it is very germane to the arguments that we're hearing today. And of course, being a libtard, he doesn't like hearing original intent or founders or any of that other stuff, and so he immediately shifted gears. Now, I'll grant him, he makes a pretty decent argument. As an attorney, even though he is a hack, and we all know that, he literally has magnetic business cards that he throws at ambulances as they drive by. Code 3, yeah.
Yeah, but the cool kind with the magnets. It's
it's
magnets,
magnetic,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But the guy's very
Yep.
smart, and he can craft an argument. But you just realize that he's an attorney, and it's bullshit, right?
Right. It's all just to get what he wants anyways.
But I want to see SCOTUS rule on this. And look, the courts are a branch of government. Mm-hmm. And one of the responsibilities of government is to protect the borders.
Absolutely. One of the primary responsibility, right? Protect the homeland.
The judicial branch, I would hope, would look at this, and I don't believe they have so far, look at this through an objective lens, which is we're at risk.
Huge.
The law allows the president to take this action.
It does.
The president did not write in his order, we are banning people based upon the Muslim religion. We are banning people from countries that are known to harbor and to support terrorism.
Which has been justification to launch attacks on countries.
Yes. And we look at... I'm sorry, Sean. I know I'm going on your segment here, and I apologize.
No. I love it when I can't talk.
But I know. I'm sorry. But we look at what's happening in Europe and in these other places where there are open borders, and we see the fucking danger of it. And I wish the judiciary would also look at that, because this is what Trump is using for his justification. Now, another thing on this, and this is kind of an aside, and don't read too much into this because this is going to generate a lot of hate mail. But understand, I'm using a point to be absurd. I am not saying that this should happen.
I'm going to use my face on this one.
Now, hear me out on this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The left has used public safety to outlaw guns.
Yes.
Specifically a right that is enshrined in the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution.
Agreed.
Assault weapons.
Agreed.
And the courts have upheld this.
Agreed.
Because of public safety interests. I think that we should start banning assault religions.
Ooh.
Specifically the Muslim religion.
With political ideology.
Because it is an assault religion, and if we can ban things that pose a public safety risk that are enshrined in the Second Amendment, why can we not do the same for things that are enshrined in the First Amendment? Send me your hate mail, folks.
Just at SacK Clint on Twitter. Really just put it out there in public. Hey, listen, I heard an argument not too long ago.
Hey, hang on. I want your reaction to that.
No, you know what? Let me tell you what I was just going to say, and it'll kind of sum it up for you. So I heard an argument the other day, or I read it online, about linking Islam to terror as a whole. And they said, well, how do you do that? I said, well, political ideology is one of the bases for terrorism, right? Usually terrorism is done in order to affect some sort of political ideology, to change it. It's one of the prongs of terrorism. Using force of fear over individuals and the citizenry is another prong.
Always to achieve political ends.
Right. Well, the argument was, in the book of the Quran, essentially, you kill the non-believers, so there's your violent portion of it. Mm-hmm. And if they are non-believers, they must be killed. So there's your political side of it. Even though it's steeped in religion per se, the fact that they have their own court system, they have their own political system within the religion.
Don't they have their own nation?
They have their own nation of Islam.
I've always said Islam is not a religion. It is a political, cultural, and societal system masquerading as a religion.
And I'm not saying that's the way to go, but I want to argue where when you turn around and you have these so-called right-wing groups that are put on the terror watch list, mm-hmm. that we know have been put on the terror watch list because they disagreed with certain administrations in the past. Oh, I don't know.
Obama administration, for
and
example.
all of a sudden they're showing up. You know, you have these some groups that maybe there's justification for, some there's not. But that broad brush was being painted. It was being taught in military colleges as examples of uprising within the country.
It was being taught in DHS classes.
It was being taught in DHS classes. So if that's one political ideology, the fact that they were Christians were also part of those instructional. So you've already had the U.S. government under a different administration acknowledge certain prongs could equal terrorism, however domestic. So I put it out to people to, you sit there and think about it. Now, do I really want a whole religion to be deemed as terrorism? No, but here's the issue. Where's the leaders in that religion coming out to massively denounce this? You see the occasional care, oh, this was horrible, right? But
occasional.
Where is the masses of people, right? It's always the same couple of people that come out after these incidents that represent the religion and go, this was friggin' horrible. And I'm really sorry, this is not what our religion represents. But they are the exception to a massive rule. You had the London mayor, after this attack, essentially saying that the situation pushed these people to do what they were doing.
Who was an attorney in his past whose job was to defend Muslims.
Yes.
Specifically.
Yes. Specifically, that was
terrorist
his specialty.
Muslims.
That was his specialty.
Okay, so we can put these homegrown Caucasoid guys on terror lists.
Yes.
Okay, where's the Muslim Brotherhood? Why aren't they on the official American terror list?
That conversation apparently is going through right now.
It is going
in the
through.
White House.
They are an assault religion.
But why now?
Scope
instead of then?
Detachable magazine.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I knew the answer.
You
BZ.
know the answer.
Well,
Of course.
Oh, you
of
know
course
the
you
answer.
Let me rephrase that. I know the political answer in this country, but that's not.
You know the real answer.
No, that is the political answer, right? It's political expedience. It is giving in to
It's
a group
because
of people.
I think it's because Obama was a true believer.
I can't argue that. I have yet to see enough
I'm
evidence
not
against
sure
that.
he was. I'm not sure I'd go to believer, but he was
Sympathizer.
a supporter.
Yes.
I'm going to
Because
say he was a
anyone
true
that's,
believer.
That's a true believer would still be obligated to Mecca 5 times daily, etc., etc.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of
and-
different exceptions to
Yes.
that rule. If you're
And
trying
under Takia,
Yeah.
certainly I can understand that
you become like a
you'd
secret
throw-
double agent.
You'd throw that into.
Yeah,
I get it.
And I get all that.
But I also say this. I go that with Islam is as Islam does. There is no such thing as a moderate Muslim. Your answer as to why we don't see more people push back in Islam is because Islam is a barbaric death cult. And there is no such thing as a moderate Muslim. There are only people who proclaim to be Muslims who do not practice it as the Quran and the Hadith they insist upon.
Mm-hmm.
They also know well that if in public they said that, they would be targeted.
Well,
it's as simple as that.
look-
Which brings me circular back to it's a death cult.
And I do want to say this. I was being absurd.
Of course you were.
I don't advocate singling anybody out for their religion. Muslim, Catholic, it doesn't matter.
But the problem that's come politically in this country, Clint, is it's happened the other way.
Right, but this is my point.
You've had other religions get called out on like crazy, some
Christians.
appropriately, some. Right.
If a Christian does something, oh my God.
They're all sects of Christianity, right?
Yes.
So you have Catholicism, all the ones between Lutherans,
yes,
whatever.
but if somebody is a Christian, there's a massive blanket, right?
Look at Bakergate, right? The guys who refused
Yeah.
to bake the cake for the gay couple, right?
Yeah.
Destroyed for a political ideology. Now, granted, they didn't use force, but they didn't need to. They used the court system.
Yep.
And there's a big difference there. You know, it's like loan sharking in banks, to quote Bill Burr, who's a great comedian. But he says, the loan shark will break your legs. Banks don't do that. Well, they don't have to because the rules are in their favor.
Yep.
They can destroy you through the court systems. What they do is legal, but the end game is still the same when they want it to be. You have that same thing where, they don't have to use the force. They use the fear of the judicial system to achieve what they want. And because our tort is so horrible in this country,
Yep.
that we allow these ridiculous lawsuits because somebody went to you and tried to purchase something for you and you said no because I don't believe in it. Now all of a sudden it's a level of
Entitlement
prejudice.
almost, right?
Well, but they call that a level of prejudice. It's like, hey, it's
Right.
not like this guy went to the gay wedding and knocked their cake off the table and said you shouldn't be married. He just said I don't want to service you. You bring that back to Islam right now and other religions in general, and it's very easy to corrupt one way or the other for your achieved goal.
Yeah, but doesn't it go into entitlement also, right?
Yes.
They're entitled to, you can't do that. You're prejudiced. I'm entitled to your service.
Yes.
What if I don't want to provide you service? I wish we had a way to turn off at people's individual computers that I don't want listening to us. But not you, because we love you and we're happy you're here with us.
But we say it all the time, right? If you don't like what we say, you can turn it off.
Yeah.
I would love...
I turn lots of people off.
I turn people off all the time.
I've been turning people off since high school.
Yeah, and really good at it, too.
Very, very good at it.
I've never seen a group of people so turned off than when you walk into a room.
Absolutely.
It's pretty stunning, to say the least.
If they can fit.
And listen, I hate to say it, folks. We've talked
No, you
about this
don't.
time and again.
You don't hate to say it.
No, I do hate to say it.
No, you don't hate to say it.
We've talked about this time and again on this show. We're only a couple years behind Europe before these attacks really start picking up here.
That's
because of the Obama era.
But we've
Yes.
seen it. And the problem is the damage is already done. The people are already here.
The crappy thing is the current administration, whoever's in power, is going to get
change
blamed for it.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to get blamed
And
for
these
it.
people-
I
the
didn't
first-
have a terror attack on my watch. It happened on his watch. You watch.
The first time that we have an Islam-motivated terror attack, and I want to know when they entered the country.
Yes.
That's the first thing I want to know.
Under whose rules?
Are they,
because right now that ban got stopped, so they could enter right now.
Right. Are they born and raised here? That different story. But if they immigrated here or came in illegally from another country, what country and when?
A third of the guys that came and shot or came and stabbed everyone played the old Stabberton role. One of them was a refugee.
Yes. Yes. The other one worked for the public transit system.
Yeah.
Backgrounded, checked.
Yeah.
the
And
whole
had
9 yards.
access to the subways underneath London.
Yes.
By the way, have you guys seen there is I think it's a California state, either assemblyman or senator, I don't remember which, and I'd have to find the story, it's a few weeks old, who wants to change the law in California so that to be a public official or a school teacher or in office, the prohibition on a communist holding such office
Be removed.
wants to be removed, and do away with oaths of allegiance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Perfect.
That's an individual we want leading. There's another guy out
Is that
there-
treason?
I think it's treasonous. That's just me, though.
I think so too, but
There's another guy out there right now. Our buddy Jerbob, send him to me. He's running for Congress down in Southern California.
Jerbob is?
No. It's this guy he
Oh.
told me about. And essentially, in order to remove corruption from local voting, he's pushing this program. He's running for office. He's also pushing this program where instead of you have your representative go up, you have more like a neighborhood leader who gets paid $1 a year. The neighborhood votes for whatever they want, and then he brings it to the larger representative who gets voted on by that larger area, $1 a year, and they arrive just for the vote. And that's it. No time up there for lobbying, none of that other crap. And we've talked about Clint and BZ, I don't know, I'm sure we have while you've been here, but we've talked about time and again about the National Congress not supposed to be a full-time job, never was intended to be.
No.
And
Nope.
states as well not being a full, because what happens? You have lobbyists who sit with
what
them
we
all day
see
long.
right now happening would happen.
Right.
It's here.
They're passing laws just to pass laws. Lobbyists are paying them a ton of money because they're living in this cushy job in California, right here in Sacramento, most of them. You know, they have their 2 apartments, and then when they're up here during the week and they're not in session, they're being wined and dined by all these local lobbyists.
Again, for fuck's sake, that's how you got Donald Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. It's the GOP established hacks,
Yep.
McCain, Lindsay, etc. All of these people who, at the end of the day, they all go to the local D.C. watering holes together, hand in hand, slapping each other's backs at how wonderfully and effectively they've managed to fuck over the American taxpayer. There isn't frequently a dime's worth of difference between people on the left and the right. And how sad to make that comment.
I disagree. I think
You
that
can't disagree.
I absolutely can disagree.
30 seconds.
I think that our country is more polarized today than it ever has been.
Agreed.
I think we are in an American identity crisis right now. I think that even within the Democratic Party, and you look at what Jerry Brown is trying to do to two factions in the party here, even in California, where you have the traditional Democrats and the super hard left progressive Bernie Sanders communist section of the party that's trying to take hold. And I think right now there is a perfect storm brewing, and I hope I'm wrong.
Oh, I know where you're going.
I hope I'm wrong.
I hope so, too.
But we are so polarized in the country and where people want to take this country that we have a perfect storm brewing for a civil war. And
it's scary, but
I
it's
hate
true.
to even say it, but you look, there is a movement in California.
Break time.
I get it. There is a movement in California right now, the Calexit movement, that now there are people straight up saying they want California to exit the union and they want to cede this territory back to Mexico.
Hey, you know what? I can move
But
to
it's
Nevada.
gaining steam.
I'll move
and
to
this
Nevada.
is how scary it is, folks.
It is.
All right, we're up against the break, folks. When we come back, oh, wow, look, it's going to be Clint's topic.
Holy crow, I'm gone for 6 weeks and Riddle Kim is still an asshole. That's the name of the segment.
It is, and it's true. All that and more right here on the SacK Kids Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the SacK Heads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the SacKheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's Bigfooted enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet. Via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the SacKheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, BZ, anything going on in chat? I'm not in chat tonight, and I apologize to the chatters.
It's interesting. We've still got Mary Brockman, we got Mike, we got Big Mouth Patriot, we have Jersey Joe back from a recent injury, not an injury, but he just wasn't feeling it right well. We had Dan Butcher here for a while. Dan has come and gone, and there's some reference in here to what's going on with Clint, but I won't mention any of that.
With what's going on with Clint? I'm not reading chat, so I don't know what that means.
People asking, how could people like Clint? And I wrote, Clint is married. And they said, oh, so there's one person who likes him.
No.
I don't know why.
No, just one person who owed me a huge favor. So anyhow... Oh, I'm just kidding.
Joe says whoever's on the board is fired.
Why am I fired now?
So you're fired.
What am I fired for?
I don't know. It's Jersey Joe.
Clint, what did I get fired for?
All I'm doing, don't shoot the messenger.
I don't know. It takes 2 people to vote you off the board, and actually, I'm pretty sure in the bylaws we can't be voted out. So
listen, I'm not.
You can't be fired. I've tried, folks.
I'm not gonna lie. If they want to vote me off the board,
there are 3 people that cannot be fired here.
I don't have a vote, so.
And that's Sean, Clint, and Sacco.
Right.
And we've tried like hell to fire Sacco, but legally we can't do it.
Oh, man.
Joe says BZ is now muted.
No, he's not. He's done. I unmuted you.
Okay.
I got to you.
You said,
No, Joe. BZ got fired.
Yeah,
because
no,
he's a
BZ
oh,
smartass.
okay, all right, not muted. He was just using another word. It's a euphemism. It's a euphemism for fired. He's muted.
He's actually,
You know,
he's not on the bylaws.
That's a nice word to say. You know, at the end of your reign, when you handed your pink slip, you're not fired. You're just muted.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I think that's a wonderful
Here
way
you
to
go.
put it.
Here's your muting.
I'm sorry, you've been muted. You're the weakest link. You've been muted.
You have been muted. It sounds so nice too.
It
Like
does.
millennials should love that.
Right.
Yeah, we're not firing you.
You've been
We're-
muted.
We're simply muting you.
You've been muted.
Because that's how they clap now, right? They snap their fingers.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about the college where they're all walking around with bats and batons. Yeah. Let's go to the topic at hand. Clint, take it away.
So, Riddle Kim is still an asshole. It all started Sunday when they launch a short-range missile. This is before we get to today, right? 5:40 a.m. Monday, Korea time, from Eastern North Korea. They launched another missile. It flew for 6 minutes, landed in the Sea of Japan. Immediately, Japan came out and said, and I'm paraphrasing, "This is bullshit. We're going to kick your ass."
This is bullshit.
That may be a direct quote.
I want that to be the official statement. I call this press conference to speak directly to North Korea. This is bullshit, and we're going to kick your ass, all right?
Dude, they need Clint for president because you want to hear my press conferences?
Who's your press secretary?
You are.
Hell yeah, I am.
You are.
Hell yeah, I am.
BZ's my speechwriter.
Fuck you. I'll see you guys next week. Ooh, he's so articulate.
I'm testifying before Congress.
Joe says he's going to bed. We've got him into a coughing fit from laughing.
Well, hey.
Wow, hey.
Look at us.
You
See what
boys
happens?
Destroying
Look
people's
at that.
lives
That's
one
right.
joke at a time.
That's right. That's right.
Nicely played, gentlemen. Nicely played.
Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, pretty sure it's pronounced Abe, but it's spelled Abe, so
we're
we'll just go with
Americans,
that.
it's Abe.
He actually vowed to take action against North Korea.
Good for him.
This is interesting because Japan's military is supposed to be defensive.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Right. They recently, the last 6 months, they changed the ruling on that.
Right, and then there were some aircraft, some scout aircraft seen flying over Pearl Harbor, but I'm sure it's fine. What?
Just talk. You asshole. No, please.
I didn't say when. Just saying.
Please go on.
So I'm just kind of laying out a timeline here. So Japan.
Okay, well, we're back to
1941.
yeah,
Or 2017, because these pricks can do it now. I've done it before, right? Tora.
just go.
I am! Grandfather kicked your ass. I don't have a problem doing it again either. So, you're next, Merkel. Look, North Korea came and right, Merkin. For those of you that don't remember what a
Just
Merkin
go.
is,
Come on, don't let me sidetrack
no,
you.
please look it
We're
up.
10 minutes into the segment. You
I know.
past the first.
Don't you remember President Merkin Muffley?
Great.
Stop.
President Merkin Muffley from Dr. Strangelove, played
Yes.
by Peter Sellers.
Yes.
I know.
And now she's the leader of Germany.
True.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
They've got a pussy wig in
He
charge.
is absolutely the leader of Germany. That guy is.
Look, that dude,
No,
that bro.
The leader of France is Angela Merkel.
Yeah. Well,
Whatever.
it,
I bet he's a hell of a softball player. Anyways, what? What?
talk.
I'm trying.
Holy shit, talk.
You guys missed me, didn't you?
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
So,
like hemorrhoids.
what, you pushing me back in? Like grapes or what? Like, what is this?
I got hemorrhoids that are more senior than you guys.
That's not, I wouldn't brag about that.
It's true.
North.
Go.
Hang on. Hang on.
Where does this come from?
Put the camera on BZ. Prove it.
We're 11,
Prove it.
We're 11 minutes into the segment.
Prove it.
11 minutes into the segment.
I bet you $1 you
You
won't
haven't
do
gotten
it.
past the first paragraph, jackass.
I'm not taking
No,
it.
I have. I really have. North Korea comes out and says they have a bigger, quote, gift package for us after this missile test. Now, listen, I've been drunk before. And I've heard...
I've fallen for this.
I've fallen for this before a couple times. Sorry, Riddle Kim. I don't think it's going to be there. The U.S. then conducts a successful missile intercept test. Riddle Kim immediately says, "Oh, why you do that?" I think that's a direct quote.
By the way, the intercept test was awesome.
Yes,
Absolutely awesome. My hats off to the developers and the Air
who
Force.
didn't think we could do that?
I knew we could. Don't get me wrong. I knew we could, but just to watch it was awesome.
Yes.
They equate that to hitting a bullet with a bullet.
Yes.
But okay, but hang on
At
a second.
16,000 miles an hour.
Yes.
Here's why I'm not that impressed with this.
Oh, boy. I want to hear this one.
Yeah, look, here's why I'm not that impressed with that. We can put a freaking rocket into space from a moving planet, shoot it at another moving planet, get our satellite in orbit, take pictures of that moving planet, or we can send shit to the moon, another moving orbital body,
Send shit to the moon.
and land where we need to land, and then bring shit back. No other country on Earth has done that. I'm not impressed by this missile test. If we can hit the moon and where we're trying to go, we can hit a frickin' missile.
Okay.
Okay. So then the U.S. aircraft carrier joins with Japanese forces off of the
Please continue.
off of the North Korean coast.
It's just painful.
We invented the Norden bomb site. Come on.
Just go. Dear God. 13 minutes in.
I know. And then today, North Korea launches multiple surface-to-ship missiles.
Yeah, the 10th time this year.
Did you say surface-to-ship missiles?
Surface to
Yes.
ship, yes.
Now, here's the interesting thing. So we have Japan coming out and telling North Korea, fuck you, we're going to kick your ass. I think that's a direct quote, I believe, like we talked about earlier. Russia has also come out and said that North Korea poses an immediate threat to Russia. That's a big deal. To quote Joe Biden, that's a big fucking deal.
That's a big fucking deal. That's no malarkey.
Because Russia has historically backed North Korea.
Yeah.
And so Russia to come out now and say, yeah, they're freaking crazy.
Yeah, we have a problem there, guys. Listen, we've been selling them shit for a long time.
Look, if we're getting sanctions against North Korea passed and Russia's supporting our sanctions,
dude,
you've pissed some people off, Riddle Kim.
Yeah,
you got Putin pissed off at you.
Good luck with that. There's also a very, very strange political incident that occurred this week with South Korea in terms of their new president. What the hell's his name? Moon Jae-in.
Yes. Moonbeam? So I think he's related to Governor Brown?
He decided that he's going to suspend the deployment of the THAAD system.
Yes.
He took 2. There are 4 more necessary to complete the system.
Yep.
And he has said that he doesn't want the extra 4.
Tell him why. Tell him why. Tell him why. This is great. Tell him why.
In what apparently is a concession to China.
Yeah, but you know what he said? He goes, he thinks the military is trying to get around the environmental study.
So
that's what this tard said.
And we all know that's just bullshit.
When did Obama run for president of South Korea?
And change his name.
But still, you have to admit, of all the crazy-ass things to come out at this time,
yeah,
why this, why now, with him?
Right.
It's as if he's saying, Well, this is how I'd interpret it if I was living in South Korea. You're no longer interested in protecting me.
Well, here's what Moonbeam, South Korea Moonbeam, said. He said that he believed that the country's defense ministry might be attempting to avoid an environmental inspection. He was not briefed on the arrival of the 4 new launchers, and he ordered an investigation. All of this while North Korea is launching shit.
Now, in this New York Times article that I'm looking at, it says the missile defense system is contentious in South Korea and has drawn sharp criticism from China, which sees the system's radar as a threat. Beijing has taken retaliatory economic measures against Seoul, including curtailing the flow of Chinese tourists and punishing South Korean companies in China. So is that true? Or is it the macroeconomic reason that Clint mentions over here?
Look, I'm telling you, the Fox article I'm reading right here talks about the statement that was released from the president's office,
right.
and that's so there may be a economic reason as well. Maybe this Moonbeam is in bed with China because our Moonbeam visited China, if you recall.
Right. And now we're trying to engage in a specific environmental pact with China.
Yeah. So look, it's possible that there's an economic tie to it, but the fact of the matter is, this jackass. I'm going to talk just as much shit now, I think, about South Korea as I'm going to about.
You know
North
what? I
Korea.
want to look at though how he came into power, because
of
he
that
was voted.
corruption scandal
Right.
with the
Yes.
prior female president.
Yes.
So there was a corruption scandal. South Korean politics have gotten really dirty over the last 5-6 years.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's directly correlated to what's going on with the North being
But
out of
this is
control.
a trend. This is a trend we're seeing with world leaders all across the globe
Yes.
who are putting other interests ahead of the
Yes.
interests of the security and defense
Yep.
of their own
Yes.
people.
Yep.
Where the fuck is that coming from?
All the leftist progressives.
Well, here's an interesting thing. Adam Smith, who's a representative, he's the leading Democrat. I think actually he's the top Democrat on the Armed Services Committee. He came out and said that this South Korean decision, quote, is a blow to our national security interests.
Yes.
So you have Democrats basically saying, hey, South Korea, you're messed up on this one.
Well, and let's remember too, I can't imagine that their environmental declaration can outdo the declaration of war that's still in effect.
We're still in a state of war.
We're still
in
technically
a state of war with
and
them.
so is in South Korea.
You know what's kind of interesting? That means the president doesn't really have to get congressional approval to
do anything with North Korea. That's something that was discussed earlier this week with a friend of mine.
On the other hand, another question, because
Yes,
it
sir.
just begs a series of questions. Now, if South Korea is no longer interested in defending itself, where are our interests in defending South Korea?
Well,
we have interest in Japan.
Yeah. Well,
South-
and
Because
Right.
South Korea would pay, and yes, Japan would pay
Yep.
a terrible price.
well, and here's the other thing with South Korea too. Why it's so important is look at the threat now. So 10 years ago, I think that argument would be easier made, right? Where it's like, hey, why are we even here? Why are we spending all this money? Like, I get Japan, but yeah, we kind of have the technology. We could launch our initial strike for the Asian region from Japan if need be. Now, with North Korea being how it is, it's vital that we're in South Korea. I also wanted to bring up the point, too, about the South Korean president. At what point does he maybe say, hey, you know what, we don't need you guys here anymore? I mean, you look at what he just did, right? He just risked...
That's in a nutshell saying that.
Right? He
Yeah.
just risked the national security of his people over a fucking bullshit environmental study. Any leader that does that has an agenda or is a complete retard.
Well, all this.
Yeah, or is a retard with an agenda.
Right. But
okay, here's
the
your
next-
agenda, because who has been shot at and sniped at recently for going behind channels to get things done? You always go behind channels to get things done. Did it in World War II, did it in Korea, etc., etc. Who's to say that somebody isn't doing this to North Korea, in South Korea, back channels to say, North Korea, when you send missiles, keep them going south past us to Japan?
Well, and the other side of it, too, is if we pulled out right now of South Korea and we fell back, say, to Japan, say we put everyone in South Korea over to Japan and said, fine, it's yours, you want it.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. I mean, within days.
Yeah.
Within days.
Yeah.
Because the North will look at that as a weakness. You could say kumbaya all you want.
And the strength is already on the border. North Korean strength is right there. It's immediate.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
If we left, South Korea would be invaded.
No doubt.
There'd be no doubt.
Right.
South Korea would be invaded.
But that's what this guy is pushing towards. And here's the other thing. As the host nation, not only are they putting their own people at risk, but they're putting our people at risk. Because not only do we have our military personnel there, we have a lot of federal employees that are in South Korea because of the North Korean conflict, right? You have ambassadors, you have all these other, and our military personnel there as well. You're putting them as risk as the host nation. Because of the declaration of war and our involvement in North Korea, could our country legitimately say, no, we need to move these in for the defense of our people? And force it and say, hey, you don't want it, then you don't want us and we're gone. It's up to you. You don't want this because of it. You're afraid it's going to hurt the knick-knack, paddywhack, frog, whatever. That's fine. But we need this in order to complete our defense systems here for our soldiers. So if you don't want it here and you're refusing to allow us to bring it in as the host nation, it's all well and good. We're too much of a risk. We're out.
You know what would happen? One American general down there, that conversation would happen, and they'd say, no, you need to get out then, and he would launch Operation Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins!
And he would run north of the border, and it would be all bad.
I love Leroy. Still, I mean, that's what, 10 years old now?
Yes.
I still love Leroy
But
Jenkins.
it painted a picture in this case, didn't you?
Amazing picture.
You don't want my, I can't defend my troops here? Fuck it, I guess we're going in now. General
guys.
Jenkins, where are you going?
All right, guys, let's do this.
Leroy Jenkins!
Throughout all that, think about now you're Japan.
Come on, BZ, take a minute and laugh, because that was fucking hilarious.
He didn't get the reference.
I have no damn idea. Who
Are you kidding me right now?
I admit it.
Are
I
you
admit
kidding
it.
me right?
I
knew where we
I
were
completely admit it.
As soon as we went back to a logical conversation, I knew that he had no idea what
Oh
we were
my
discussing.
gosh. Next break,
We're showing
I'm going to
you,
show you this
We'll
clip.
show you Leroy.
And then you're going to laugh, and then like none of our audience will get to see it.
Go ahead.
But imagine being Japan now with all of this going on,
Right.
and the rampant confusion in Japan. You know, up until a lot of this stuff started cooking off with North Korea, Japan was on the cusp of saying, you know what, U.S., you can get the fuck out of Kadena.
Yes.
They were not that
They were
far
starting
away.
to push us out.
Yes.
Absolutely was.
And now Japan is going, oh, tell you what, don't go fucking nowhere now.
Hey, you guys want to land some B-52s here? That's
Yeah.
cool with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely
Whatever
fabulous.
you want to put in, that's cool.
But on the other hand, now that they see that what South Korea has done to us, and I don't think Japan has THAAD yet. I'm not sure. But an if-then equation, if they get taken out of South Korea, then they should be put in Japan.
I guarantee you if that happens, Japan will go, hey, don't send all that money, send it at home.
Yeah.
Just ship it over the water right over here.
Actually, we'll
We
pay
got
for it.
We got yeah.
We'll pay for
You
shipping.
guys want boats?
Yeah.
We'll give you a boat. We got boats. We're cool.
Because administratively, politically, now,
I think we owe you some boats from when we bombed your shit in Pearl Harbor.
I knew that was coming.
if you're the Japanese PM, now aren't you thinking to yourself, the landscape has changed.
Yes, tremendously.
In one day,
Well,
the landscape has changed.
right.
And we
Or
are,
seascape,
we
as
are
it were.
under threat even more so in the scope of one day than we were last week.
Well, and you
Yes.
look,
Coupled with these new tests.
despite the
These weren't tests today. They straight up launched surface-to-ship missiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in
These aren't
water.
tests anymore.
And whose, but that's a statement. Whose ships are nearby?
Ours.
Yes.
very much so. That is a statement.
I would say that they were fired upon.
How can you prove they weren't? And that their tracking system was just horrible,
Yeah.
right?
That's the time to immediately launch an airstrike from
mean-
both aircraft carriers in that area. And then after Little Kim shat himself, much like Gaddafi did,
Kim Un is in a much different position
Than Gaddafi.
Gaddafi.
you don't
yeah.
think he would... Okay.
No,
so
I don't.
If you
I
don't
told
think
you this
if,
before. I don't think that's going to shake him. I don't think that's going to rattle him. I think he believes all the bullshit he was raised to believe.
Yes, but here's the thing.
He believes his press.
Granddaddy, great-granddaddy, daddy never had the U.S. drop some serious shit on his city.
Well, no, but
because they believe they're invincible. And if shit gets blown up in his city, people would look at that and say,
but there's
you didn't say this was possible.
There's a larger geopolitical concern now with North Korea than there was, say, with Gaddafi in Egypt.
Right.
China, Russia.
Yep.
Russia thinks they're a threat now also.
Geopolitical considerations.
China does too. Do you really think if we went in there and we just said, okay, we're going to fly over and bomb the shit out of North Korea? Or, you know what? You fired in the direction of our ships. We're going to take out those missile sites. Do you really think China would retaliate against the United States militarily or Russia? There is no way.
Things are so messed up now geopolitically that I wish I could say with massive confidence, I believe it absolutely.
Particularly with Russia saying they're a threat. You think if Russia and the United States stood together and said, "Hey, they're a threat," U.S. took action, and Putin was like, "Meh." You really think China would? And Putin said, "Hey, China, you're not going to do anything."
If you're going to take it, are you going to take it further and say then, would China and Russia sit back and just let the U.S. do their job?
I think they would.
I think so too.
I absolutely think they would. Not only that, I think it's possible if this little jackass keeps pressing it. I think it's possible that Russia would be an ally. Much like World War II, where we really didn't want to do it.
The enemy of the enemy is my friend.
I really think Russia potentially could be an ally.
Here's
in this
what I
situation.
think that needs to be done.
And that's changed recently.
And
yes,
this is
because
just a
didn't you and I both agree not long ago that if North Korea does get involved with that and China became involved, that Russia would stand back, wash their hands completely of it and say, well, that's kind of interesting to watch, but we're not involved.
Yes.
Now I think that's changed.
But now I think that's changed.
Here's what I think that we honestly should do, and we could do it very easily. You take out air defenses, just take them out, and you fly one B-52 escorted by about 30 F-22 Raptors, or as many as we can get up there, right over Pyongyang at like 800 feet. And that's all you need to do. You don't even have to drop a bomb on the city itself. Just take out the air defenses.
I'd drop a bouncy ball with a smiley face.
No. Even better, a bunch of super balls. Remember, you know the ones that just bounce everywhere?
My God, I remember Super Balls. Holy crap.
Just drop, right? Just
Can you even buy Super Balls?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Oh, we can have some manufactured.
Oh, yeah. You can load the entire B-52 up with them, and at like 800 feet, just drop those sons of bitches. And just go everywhere. Everywhere. But that's a message, right? We didn't hurt you. We gave the kids something to play with, but we could have very easily knocked the shit out.
The corollary to that is I'd replace all the F-22 pieces of shit with actual F-16s true jets.
Whichever.
You know what I'd do?
You know what? We could put them all in there.
Here's what I would do.
I'll put a couple F4s in just for fun.
Sean, you know what I'd do?
Yeah, now I do like that.
I'd sail the USS Constitution over.
I know. I know.
This is my thing. It's my thing.
Before you die, you're going to ensure the USS Constitution ends up in battle again.
I am.
Just
at least
one more time.
Fire one frickin' cannonball.
One more time.
Just one.
Have you ever been? Did you ever go see it?
Oh yeah.
No. So this is actually a true story, and I've actually told Sean this. I don't know if you remember. This is actually a true story. I am waiting.
Seconds.
I am doing my best to wait to go to Boston until I can go back with Sean.
Yeah.
That would be an assload of fun.
That is 100%.
That would be a lot of dangerous.
And I'll tell you what, if you went, I'd want to go too.
Yeah.
This is 100%. I'm waiting to go to Boston.
I'd want to go drink a Guinness on your dad's grave.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it every time I go back.
I know.
But yeah, I'd do it again.
But I want to do it with you.
So I do. I want
that.
Sean. I want Sean to. I want to experience Boston with
a Bostonian.
With
Here's the problem: you'll spend 7 days in a pub going, "We couldn't have done this back in California." Be like, "Oh, this is history, baby. Keep drinking."
I don't care. Hey, are we in which tavern is this?
It doesn't matter.
Is this the one that the Tea Party started at?
Hey, is this the one I vomited in last night? Yes, it is. Keep drinking.
Perfect.
Folks, we're up against a break. When we come back, look at BZ's segment again.
Well, no, BZ's going to watch Leroy Jenkins.
Yes, you're going to show BZ Leroy Jenkins at the break. We're going to get his response. BZ's also going to catch up on chat room during the break, see if we have any good comments coming out of there.
After Jersey Joe left, it about died.
Oh, pick it back up right here on the SacK Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
Leroy Jenkins.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the SacK Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the SacKheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome back to the SacK Radio
Damn
Show.
it, Leroy.
Damn it, Leroy. See, now you
Hey,
get it.
now you get it. Now that shit was funny.
Now
Oh,
I
yeah.
now I
now
get
you
it.
get why the general
And
joke
make
was
sure,
so
if
funny.
you ever check out what Leroy Jenkins is, go to the original. Don't.
Yes.
It's been used for a bunch of other things, but go to the original source for it. It's and read about it. It's just kind of funny. It's a nerd humor, but it's perfect humor.
so awesome.
It really is kind of great. Moving right over to Clint.
No.
The big story. Oh, BZ. I'm sorry, BZ. Biggest story of the night, so to speak, is the James Comey testimony that happened today.
Comey.
James
Comey.
It didn't happen today. It's going to happen tomorrow.
Sorry, happened tomorrow. But what everyone is saying is going to happen.
But here's the thing: if you're Comey, and you've decided that you are going to release your prepared statement today,
yes,
ahead of your actual testimony tomorrow, there's an issue.
Because you're not answering the questions you're being asked.
And the issue
Yes.
is you realize
That's a big hand.
Oh.
That's like a foam finger.
There's a foam finger for you. And you realize that as, the current phrase goes now, Comey's testimony tomorrow is going to be a big nothing burger.
Yes, huge nothing burger.
And so the questions that people should be asking is, all right, where are your notes? Where's your memo?
I want the originals.
I want to see your memos.
Yes.
I want to see what they consist of. But he's already essentially, in a way, exonerated President Trump. So it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to go that there is that the leftists are still going to see that it's all about obstruction of justice. Well, let's look. What is literally and by the way, most everyone that knows anything is saying no. It has nothing to do with obstruction of justice. So I went to the Legal Information Institute. Obstruction of justice is defined in the Omnibus Clause of 18 U.S.C. 1503. Now, stop. This is important because the definition of obstruction of justice in the federal system is different than various state systems. So because we're talking federal, that's the statute that I'm quoting. It provides that whoever corruptly or by threats or force or by any threatening letter or communication influences, obstructs, or impedes or endeavors to influence, obstruct, or impede the due administration of justice shall be guilty of an offense. They're charged under the statute based on allegations that a defendant intended. Now, that means what? Just as with Comey last year, there are two types of crimes of general intent and crimes of specific intent. Mm-hmm. Crimes of specific intent are those statutes which say, just like this one, with the intent to.
What about crimes of passion?
And that's what it says. The intended to interfere with an official proceeding by doing things such as destroying evidence, interfering with the duties of jurors, court officers, etc. So again, it's going to be a big nothing burger. But the leftists, this is pretty much all they have left on which to hang their hat.
Yes.
So CNN, this is again more proof that CNN's anonymous sources, if you will, they got it wrong. Because on May 9th, the White House released the letter that President Trump went to James Comey and said that he'd been relieved of his duties. And in that letter, Trump said that James Comey had informed him on 3 separate occasions that he was not under investigation, and then it turns out that the letter released today by Comey confirms that maybe 3 times he said, yes, you're not under investigation. So,
what investigation?
Is Trump right?
Well, and I also want to point the NSA director's testimony. Was it the NSA?
No, Mike Rogers.
Yeah,
yes,
Mike
Rogers.
About
today,
hey, never felt pressure.
Said, yeah.
That's who I was thinking of earlier when I said testimony today.
Oh, okay, all right.
I never felt pressure.
No, that's
whatsoever.
true.
Whatsoever, never felt pressure.
And then he began to ask the questioners to quantify what it was that he was under pressure for. But basically, the bottom line is, he said also in his testimony today, 3 separate times, affirming the same answer 3 separate times.
Yep.
I didn't feel pressure. That's not what was occurring here.
Well, so the other question that I have with Comey and his note-taking is, quite honestly, where's your notes from when you met with Loretta Lynch about the Clinton meeting? Bill Clinton on the tarmac.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not forthcoming.
If you took notes
when were these notes written?
Right.
How do we know when they were really written?
Right. We have no way. You wrote them on a notepad, not on an iPad, right? So we have no way of even digitally documenting it.
Yeah.
And that's not to give the left any sort of ammunition to question it. But if every meeting you had with a major politician about an incident, and you took these very specific notes, where's the rest of them? Where's the rest of them? That's my question. And I know they're not going to show up, and I know what the answer is. He pushed the whole that Trump was asking for loyalty, and I don't think that that's an obscene thing. I think that's him saying, hey, can you make sure you work with the administration and not against it?
He said honest loyalty.
Yes.
Honesty, loyalty.
Yeah. And
Is that
I would think every administration would want that.
And
from their
right, and I think
appointees,
that's
right?
I very much think that's their way of saying, hey, just make sure you're doing the right thing. Make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, and make sure that you are being honest about what's going on. I think really that was his chance to Comey to turn things around in his career and maybe become a more effective leader. Like, hey, we're giving you opportunity right now as we speak. You could sit and be the FBI director, and you have a chance to change some things around, and we'll be behind you as long as you're honest and loyal. And when he didn't do that, he lost the job. He laid out, as a boss often does, he laid out the expectations of an employee.
Yeah.
Yes, you could say that he was looking. You could say that he gave Comey more rope in which to hang himself.
Of course.
But you could also make the argument that despite what occurred in the past, January 21st, he was ready to have a new relationship with FBI Director Comey, and it was Comey who set the rules and the parameters, and so Trump waited to see what happened after that. And then Comey screwed himself when he said that 10,000 emails were discovered by his agents, and then 2 days later, an underling had to come and say that Comey's testimony was false.
Yes.
So that meant Comey lied to Congress. How do you fix that?
You remove him.
How do you move that? Simultaneously, CNN and ABC hanged their hats on the fact that Comey was going to say that Trump was under investigation.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. No. Now the
all
anonymous
of mainstream media was.
Well, they were the ones that started those two articles going originally.
And the New York Times, right?
Now it starts to, well, not starts. Now it was revealed because Comey revealed what his initial statement is going to be. It's a bunch of crap. And CNN had a story with a headline, Comey expected to refute Trump. Except when Comey released the letter of his opening statement.
Yes.
What the hell?
Here's the thing, and we've said this about media for a long time in this country. They keep starting with their lie and hope that it gets perpetuated. And when it doesn't, they just walk away like nothing was ever said. And when it does, they blast it all over the media.
They formulate an opinion or an idea,
Based
and
in
they
nothing.
cherry pick evidence.
And the idea is based in nothing.
Right. They cherry pick evidence to support the thesis rather than looking at the evidence and see where the evidence leads.
I mean, you go back to the campaign, and you look at what they were doing in campaign, and the stuff that was just getting thrown against the wall, hoping something would stick, just to destroy him as a candidate. And now that he's president, and you have all these people talking impeachment and all this other stuff, and you have protests going on, and the country's falling apart still on some level, and you have the crybaby leftist snowflakes who are just can't let it go. It's goddamn June, and they're still trying to refute the fact that he's a president. You have to whip that fear up, because those are the people who keep going to their website and making them money, and watching their programs and making them money. They're not news hounds; they're entertainment hounds, or whores, as I would like to say.
Or they're the American media maggots, as I call them.
Yes.
So 2 points. Number one, there was going to be Comey Hour in various D.C. watering holes, while they sat back in glee and backslapping all around when Comey just rakes President Trump over the coals. Well, that's not really going to happen. Then secondly is CNN's new headline, which is in about, I think, 2-point font, as opposed to the 100-point font in which the original article came out. Now it's a little bitty font that says, Comey unlikely to judge on obstruction. I'm surprised.
Because there was no obstruction.
That's how they correct things, too.
And not only that, but Comey's in a corner. Because if Comey comes out and says there was an obstruction... Nobody puts baby in a corner. If Comey comes out and says that Trump tried to obstruct and Comey failed to report that,
now he's
Comey's in violation.
Well, he's criminally liable.
And then
so Comey can't come out and say that.
Well, it's what I said. It's what Clint, you said. It's what Sean, you said.
Hey,
3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago, whenever the fuck it was. And that's this. if Comey has a memo and he decided it was sufficiently serious in which to sit down and at keyboard immure it in some kind of a digital form in a computer that he was so terribly concerned about this influence, why didn't he go to his boss
immediately,
which is the Assistant Attorney General, Rosenstein, and say, look, because this is what logical people would do in a hierarchy if you've got an issue that you don't think that you can take care of, but perhaps so politically charged that your boss needs to know, you go to your boss.
Well, and here's the funny part.
So apparently it was not of sufficient import to go to his boss.
Well, it brings me back to Reality Winner, right? The same thing where you had this information that was absolutely important and needed to get out, and you had chains and procedures to do it, and instead it was leaked to the news media. So at the end of the day, it wasn't classified information, but it's yet another Obama-era hire that openly leaks to the media without following chains of command, right? I mean, this information was not released through Rosenstein and the Department of Justice. It had ABC and NBC and all the other. Oh, Comey's got this memo that's going to, cause Trump to get impeachment. All this other bullshit, but it goes to that leftist idea of, well, I'm going to do it my way and not follow procedures because I deem this to be more important, that I'm going to circumvent the law and procedures.
And here's why Sessions needs to strike like an eastern diamondback rattlesnake. Take that 25-year-old she's highly intelligent, highly educated, but has learned almost nothing. Take that 25-year-old little twat and make an example of her. Throw her into federal prison and let her do hard time. Once that occurs, then go back and, in like a tick, pull out all the other leakers and make sure that they do hard time in the federal system.
Yeah, and not become a
They also need to be made
Chelsea
examples
Manning.
of. Whether she's young or old, or she's innocent, or she loves her mommy or not, I couldn't give a fuck less.
Yeah.
She needs to be made an example of. And if she's the first one that got caught, oh fucking well.
Right.
There are consequences
You have
to
to start
what
a precedence.
you do.
Well, and you go back to Bradley Manning, right?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay for some tranny to leak this crap
And then
get
free sex
released.
change,
All right,
yeah,
hey, you
right.
don't have to do your time, no problem. And besides, we'll give you tits and a cunt on top of that, no problem.
But look at who did that release. Look at who let him go. The same president who was in charge with Comey, and who people like this Reality Winner puts on this pedestal, right? The ideology is put on the pedestal. And you see it time and time again.
And thought that this landmine winner was just a super idea.
Yep.
What a wonderful idea.
Absolutely. And it's going to create problems. Look, in reality, after tomorrow, this shouldn't even be discussed anymore. This should just die.
But it will
and
be
go
because
away.
both sides are going to find evidence to bolster their position.
Right. Well, they're going to create evidence
politically.
to bolster their
Politically, that's not going to change. The leftists
the
will still
the
say
Trump side is going to say, "Look, he wasn't under investigation.
it proves
We've been telling you
nothing."
this all along."
And
the other side is
leftists-
going to say, "Well, he was asking for loyalty."
Leftists are going to say this is an obstruction charge and he needs to be impeached. But truly, that's not even the issue tomorrow. What's the bigger issue tomorrow?
Is that none of these statements are going to be actual
In
statements?
Europe, there's an election in the UK
yeah.
to decide whether or not they're going to go with Marine Le Pen under the guise of Theresa May, and she's no Marine Le Pen by any stretch of the imagination, or whether they're going to go with Jeremy Corbyn, who is Emmanuel Macron. And so France has already decided which way it's going to go. It's going to lean hard left.
Yep.
And so that then will determine tomorrow what direction are the Britons going to go.
Well, I'll tell you right now, a month ago it may have been more up in the air, but I think you're going to see a lot of people go right in Britain. I think after, listen.
Here's what
had
Clint
Brexit.
said earlier is going to cork off. Because the leftists in the EU and the leftists in the United States are leaving no other option.
Right. Right.
There's almost nothing left on the table. There's very little left on the table. And in fact, I can make an excellent argument that the UK is in greater threat than France at this time. Because there's been a massive migration of what are called Salafists from France and other nations over to the UK for a number of reasons. Number one, they don't check backgrounds and they don't check visas in the UK. They invite these people over into various neighborhoods that are becoming flooded with Salafists, which are the most stringent adherers to the various precepts of Islam.
We have a caller who wants to weigh in on this conversation.
Oh, yeah, so this
And our caller here, I'm going to put him on camera for everybody to see. Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
Oh, he doesn't want to.
What happened? He wanted to weigh in on this whole discussion.
That was brutal.
Man, that was
brutal.
That was
brutal. You're a monster.
What?
I think we can all agree from now on
that I'm a monster.
That you're a monster.
Come on.
We should just a little bit of. Here's the best part. Whoever that wasn't even on camera at the time because your camera wasn't up, and they still jumped right the hell off. It was awesome.
Well, listen, when somebody is weighing in on the show, and they said, "Oh, I would love to weigh in on that," and I say,
"Call me.
Call in."
Yeah.
And they say, "You won't put me on the show." What am I supposed to do?
Is it ABH?
No.
ACH? Oh.
No. Yeah, he says he was laughing too hard to talk.
Okay. Well, you know what? Missed opportunity. Next time, bone up and let's go.
Yeah.
Is that similar to Bon Appetit?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Somewhat. Hey, look.
In the U.S., not much going to happen tomorrow. It's been pre-decided
right.
what's going to happen.
Every answer's there. And you look at Europe, and I caution people, I said this earlier, that we're not far behind Europe, and you look at the ideology. Now, if Britain goes hard left tomorrow, it really sums up that no matter what is done to them, the ideology will outweigh personal security.
Because here's what's also going to happen. If they decide under Jeremy Corbyn that they're going to go hard left, then there's going to be an even greater push to repeal Brexit.
Yes.
And if they repeal Brexit, then Europe and Brussels and all the leftists are going to throw up their arms and say, "See, we told you we were right.
We told you. We owned it." It's going to be interesting. I think tomorrow is a very significant vote for the rest of the world, really.
Or is it too late?
I don't think it's too late.
Is it too soon?
Well, and here's the thing. Up until a month ago, I may have been much more concerned about which way it's going to go. The one thing that the British people, by and large, is once they get attacked, things change.
This isn't the first time they've been attacked.
Yeah, but the blast...
They've been attacked 3 times in 3 months.
Yes.
The blast at that concert were young and innocent kids. Mm-hmm. It wasn't... we've talked about how that changes the mentality of a country, right?
That was specific targeting.
Shock the conscience. We talk about that. And we talk about it with why it hasn't really been done in this country, knock on wood, is because they know they would wake the bear. The bear would wake up and say, "You know what, tough shit. I don't care about your ideology. I don't care about your feelings, your emotions, blah, blah, blah. You attacked kids. Now it's game on. We're all on the same page for the most part." I think you'd get 75% of the country that way, right? I think even those who are, and we saw it with Brexit, how many people in the polls that would be released in Brexit?
Yeah, I think you would.
Oh, they're going to go, you know, we're going to stay in Brexit. And then all of a sudden the vote happened and it wasn't as close as anyone thought and Brexit still passed. I think you're going to see that tomorrow with the British election. The left, oh no, they're going to go left, and then all of a sudden people are going to get in that voting booth, much like Trump here.
As of yesterday,
and when they pull that handle or press that button or drink their tea or whatever they do in voting booths, I don't fucking know. It's going to change the mentality.
As of yesterday, what they're saying is there was a singular point difference between the two.
Yeah, I think that's changed now. I guarantee you that's changed now.
As House Secretary or Home Secretary, May is responsible for releasing 20,000 police officers in the conservative government. And, of course, Corbyn is using that as a reason. See, it's Theresa May who placed us in our current predicament, not me.
Well, and like everything else, the story behind that isn't the story behind that. And what they're pushing, just like when I talk about attacks in this country, we talk about where they came in, where they came from, and what time it was. Mm-hmm. Just like that, you look at the release of 20,000 law enforcement officers. On one hand, yeah, it's a humongous number, right? But on the other hand, Would that have stopped the bomber? I know you can argue the investigatory thing of keeping up with these monsters when they enter the country and all that other stuff, but you know what? We see more and more with Britain, people they know and we're following are conducting attacks. And we see that in Europe all the time. Where it's amazing how afterwards they're like, we knew exactly who this was. He'd been on this watch list, et cetera, et cetera.
UK keeps getting it wrong.
It has nothing to do with the fact that they're being identified as problems. What's wrong is that they can't do anything about it.
Inaction.
Absolutely. We have 4 minutes left to go.
So Corbyn is going to take he's a politician. He's going to take
do the
advantage of something like that.
He's going to take the bullshit route.
But we know where France went.
Yep.
UK is under a greater threat.
Yep.
Because the other thing is, UK gives great benefits to people coming in. Mm-hmm. They pay them.
Well,
and they know this.
But
yes, they do. Clint?
If you look at the European Union, who is the one country that is really driving that union? It's Germany.
Yeah. Driving the economy in the union.
Yeah.
Because they benefit the most.
Exactly.
And Brussels.
But for the most part, Germany.
Jean-Claude Van Damme as well,
right?
Yeah.
Did you say Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah.
Okay, that's true.
He is actually the king of Brussels. I don't know if you knew that.
Brussels sprouts?
Brussels. He's the muscles from Brussels. You didn't know that?
It's true.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Thank you.
True.
Thank you, BZ.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice to get a little backup on the show.
I got you.
It's nice.
Forgot I didn't know where I was going with that.
Solid, baby.
Oh.
I got you, baby.
France woke up. Is England going to wake up?
Well, France didn't wake up.
Well, France woke up for like an hour.
They woke up for like an hour and a half. They said, fuck it, I'm going to sleep.
I go to have my cigarette, and I'm going to roll over and smell bad.
But they did wake up for a minute.
And then the people of the country went, ooh, this is icky. Now they're really, really mad at us.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to the London mayor and the leftist ideology, and just the leftist ideology in general. We've created a situation that have made these people mad. It's what's her name? Barbara Boxer, right? If they see us put the gun down,
then they'll put
their gun down.
Certainly.
That's what they think is going to happen. And I hope to God that the people of England, especially the Brexit voters, come back out and stay really, really smart because it's their future, it's their security, it's their safety that's on the line with this.
2017 in Europe is the United States in 1993.
Yeah.
When we decided that it was best policy to ignore everything that was happening underneath our noses.
Yes.
Following that, then, we had 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
The Europeans haven't had a 9/11 yet. But there are so many. For example, we were talking.
We get 2 minutes.
There are 20. Feature this in terms of statistics. There are 23,000 documented jihadis in the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
They know that. They don't know where they are.
But they know
they're
it.
in the
But
United
they know
Kingdom.
that they're present.
They're in the United Kingdom.
You just told us where they were.
In a little teeny country, as opposed to the big, massive United States.
Right. It'd be hard to find them then. It's an island, folks.
Right. But you can't do it with all the various surveillance and operatives, etc., that you need. UK, the people, no one can. You can't walk into a mosque.
BZ,
you
we
can't
have less than
surveil
a minute,
them.
and you're being way too serious.
I know, right?
Right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well,
this is the SacKheads radio show.
5 minutes of work, 10 minutes of fucking around.
Yeah.
That's how we roll it here.
Yeah, seriously.
Let the fucking around commence.
BZ, I think you're 100% right, though.
Tomorrow will be an interesting day.
Tomorrow will be an interesting day. Of course, you'll talk about it tomorrow night. And
it will have already occurred.
Zeppelin, Bobcat Saloon.
We'll talk about it
at
next
8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East
Oh, by the
Coast.
way, I've got Susan Katz-Keating, a military intelligence specialist, coming back to the show.
Outstanding.
And I'd also like to tell you that I've got Dan Butcher coming on for a weekly appearance, probably on Thursdays.
Outstanding.
And I've got Brad Thor Arthur coming on. We just can't agree on a date yet.
Well, I hope you guys have your date.
Thank you.
Sounds lovely.
Thank you.
Hey, really quick, I want to throw a huge, huge shout out to the makers of my shirt. By the way, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, that is an amazing shirt.
Thank you.
That
it's
is
called
an
Grunt
amazing
Style. It's part of subscription box monthly. There's a whole bunch of great shirts. You got to check them out.
You get one every month?
Every month. It's
Really?
$21 a month, and you get a new shirt. They replace them if they wear tip or wear.
You're gonna have to
rip
give me that
or
website
tear.
because I'm interested.
Grunt style. Just
I'm down
Google
like
it.
4 flat tires. What?
The shirts are ridiculously soft. They're really good. You can buy all the other monthly subscriptions. And
$24 a month.
I think it's 21.
So what you're saying is they don't scratch your nipples.
They do not.
Do they
scratch
do
nipples.
sweatshirts and stuff too?
Just T-shirts right now. They have a whole bunch of swag on their website, but the subscription box is their T-shirts. And I'm waiting. They're awesome. I got another one last month that was really cool.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's the black Injustice thin blue line shirt. So
I want to
check
get a
them out.
shout out to Tony Stark and for my shirt, the Avengers. So
I'd like
thank
to
you,
give a shout out
guys.
to Jersey Joe. I'm wearing Jersey Joe's.
Is that Jersey Joe's?
I'm wearing Jersey Joe's thin blue line bracelet.
Outstanding.
You can go purchase these at Riva.
Riva
Riva.1, I
River
think.
One. Yep.
And he has them. These are about $12, and each one that gets into your mailbox, he does them himself.
Yes, he does.
So
handcrafted.
this was done by Jersey Joe.
And we love him for it. Of course, Jersey Joe, big part of the SHR lineup, which changes huge July 2nd.
Why? What happened?
We're going to be...
It's a change. It's a game changer.
What happened?
We'll talk about it next week.
Everything.
That's it, folks, that's it for the SacK Heads
That's
Radio
a teaser,
Show.
folks.
That's a teaser. That's it for the SacK Heads Radio Show
you
live and the
tease.
SHR Media Network. We'll be back next Wednesday at 8 Pacific, 11 on the East
I
Coast.
missed you guys.
We missed you
We
too.
missed you.
Have a great rest of your week.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, SacK Heads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than SacK Head Sean and SacK Head Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, SacK Heads Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack. Sack. Sack.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
The best.
Into the silo.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.